Good morning. Saturday morning. At least it is Saturday morning where I am. I don't know where you are. If you're watching this live, if it's a different day, then lucky you. Not legal advice. Please like, subscribe, share with your family and your pets. Please. Dogs tend to like my videos very much, so please share it with your dogs. I wasn't planning on doing a video, but yesterday I did a video which the premise was, in part, it was centered on mmtlp, and the premise was that I thought that the SEC was beginning to throw FINRA under the bus. And I made that video before the letter that was sent from 15 Congress people to I guess Gary Gensler. I hope it's going to be sent to Robert Cook too, by the way. But to Gary Gensler, basically asking or directing or requesting that they look into the mmtlp matter and indicating certain questions they wanted asked. So I hadn't seen that nor addressed that in the video, but after hearing about that, I wanted to kind of throw it out and see how it fits within my theory that I made on that video I released yesterday. I'm going to be doing a live stream with JR on Sunday night at 6:30, and I'm sure we're going to be talking about this much more in detail. And we will hopefully have Will Stewart next Tuesday. So we will do that. But a quickie, just so we keep things consistent, even though this is going to be really short, is if you're going to borrow money, borrow it from a pessimist. They never expect it back. Anyway, on to other things. So my premise was before that the SEC had, and part of this is based upon information I'd received before, that the SEC was annoyed at best with FINRA with regard to how they had been handling this particular matter, because it was becoming a pain in the butt for the SEC, obviously. Because as time went on, it became more and more prominent. There was enough factual information released that the claim was credible. So I believed that my premise was when they issued the Wells notice that they knew, because that would have been a requirement in the response, that the targets of that Wells notice, which I think were Mr. Berta, Mr. Palikaris, and MMAT, would have to respond in detail, and their response in large part would attack the actions of FINRA. So I believed beforehand that before the letter went out from Congress that this was a shift, and the Wells notice was a way of basically hanging FINRA out to dry, because the targets would have to basically set forth their defense, which would in large part attack FINRA. So then the letter comes out yesterday, and again, to those in the mmtlp community that are actively involved in soliciting Congress, props to you all. I believe it's all a collective effort. In other words, pressure from all avenues ended up resulting in this win, but to those directly soliciting and spending their time, except for little JR, then props to you all. But what I was thinking about was, it made more sense to me, or this is my theory, I'm just speculating. Of course, this is not legal advice. But my guess is that Gensler's office knew that the letter was going to come from Congress. And that expedited that Wells letter to shift the blame to FINRA. So I think that's, in my mind, that is the likely sequence of events. Somebody, either they directly told Gensler that this letter was coming out on this date, or somebody on his staff found out, or they suspected, etc. I think the Wells notice was a way of kind of being in front of it and kind of laying the groundwork for what the response will ultimately be, that it's FINRA's fault. And I think that's the answer, that the SEC is going to be pointing the finger at FINRA. FINRA was directly responsible for managing the situation. I think the SEC will look over the fact that they have supervision over FINRA, but so be it. But I think that's, in my mind, that's what's going on here. And it's just speculation, but it's consistent with what I'd heard a couple months ago, that the SEC was pissed off at FINRA. And in my mind, again, with a lack of transparency, it's still a way of the SEC letting FINRA being the ultimate target of this, which I think will ultimately result in positive results for the mmtlp crowd and for anybody else holding a naked short. Because now, if this proceeds as we hope it proceeds, and I don't know how long that will take, because it's still on legal time, so I don't expect anything immediate, and I'm acting as if nothing has changed. So on Monday morning, I'm further working on my motion for discovery against Fidelity, which will be filed next week sometime. But I'm proceeding just as is, and however it goes from this point in time, I think it's a positive change. And the fact, if in fact we're successful in establishing, or Congress is successful in establishing, that there have been improper naked shorting, then I think it'll open up the shorters, the improper shorters, on many more targets, many other stocks and securities, and I think it will be for the benefit of all. And perhaps new regulations or new regulatory authority will come in and properly supervise the marketplace. So I just wanted to again thank everybody who worked so hard, but we have to continue it up, continue working hard. And FINRA, listen, I think the tables have been turned. The SEC is now after you. So, I think that's the realistic part. Everybody knows that what you did was improper at this point in time, including the party that's supervising you. And now you're going to be at the whim and under the control of Congress. Not going to be pretty. Better that you work this out. Honestly, I think it's much better that you work it out. No matter how it ends, if you play this out in the long run, it's not going to end well for FINRA. It's just not. Anyway, that's my quick thoughts. Again, congratulations on that interim success. Great step going forward to the mmtlp community, and to the benefit, I think, of all securities that have naked shorting. Really think it's a positive step. But let's keep it up. And SEC, go after FINRA. Come on. Nail these guys. We agree with you. FINRA is bad. FINRA is bad. Have a good day. See you Sunday night at 6:30 with JR.